Greetings to you this day. This is Michelle Strickland, and I'm coming to you today with Conversation with Self. Conversation with Self is a segment that I normally do when I do them on a Monday, and it's just a conversation that I have with myself. I record it. These are exercises that I record. Even though they're corny. But anyway, I'm just hoping somebody can get something out of it. What are we going to discuss today, Michelle? Communicate, learning, giving some suggestions for communicating clearly, setting boundaries with people and stuff like that. Oh, do you have a problem with that? I used to. I did. I used to have a problem with that, and it got me into a big trouble, So, I want to be in a good place, Michelle, where I can be willing to give back, but in a safe way. Not to the extent to where you're going to be ever taken advantage of again. So I think one of the main things is learning how to communicate effectively and being able to have limitations and boundaries, setting boundaries with people. You think that's going to help you? Yeah, it has helped me a lot. It has. It's not completely foolproof. Sometimes you got to go through some trial and error and check people out and give them an opportunity to show you who they are. Because they will show you. They can tell you anything. But their actions are going to be the thing that tells the truth. Okay? Go ahead, Michelle. Will you? Okay. Here I go. We're going to discuss effective communication, the need and having the need for it, and we're going to discuss limits and setting boundaries and why it's crucial for healthy relationships, and how it can affect your personal well-being. I'm going to give you some expressions that can help you communicate your needs and limits, okay? These are just suggestions, okay? And I use stuff like this when I'm talking to people sometimes, you don't have to make it all clinical, but you can incorporate these expressions and boundaries and ways of dealing with people and ways to show and request people show you respect. Okay, so I'm just gonna give you some ideas. Okay, expressing your needs. You could say things like, I need some time alone right now. I do that. I don't always talk to people when I don't feel like talking. If I don't know how, if I don't feel like talking, I don't force myself to either. I don't. Now, that's just how I am. If I don't want to talk about something, I won't. And I mean it. I go how I feel, You could, expressing yourself, you could say, I could really use some help with, and then to be specific with whatever it is you're asking to get help with. You could say, I need more support in whatever the specific area you need support with. Whether you get all these things or not, that's another story, but that's just giving you ideas. You could, for expressing yourself, you could say, I need you to listen without offering advice. And that's that one right there, throw anybody off, but sometimes you got to just say, hey, you know what? Thank you for your advice, but I don't need it right now. And I sound rude, but sometimes when it escalates, and sometimes that's where it got to be, and then just don't say nothing else. Don't try to be careful with escalating stuff. Setting boundaries. I'm not comfortable discussing whatever the situation is right now. And I'm like that. I talk to people just like I made all these lessons. I made these lessons up. I came up with the outline for all of my lessons. All the subjects, I came up with the outline for them, and I got help filling in blanks with AI. But these are all my lessons that I incorporate, that I'm trying to give to you so that you can try to become a better person and have better ways of communicating with people. That's all, and I've been talking about these things now for 3 years almost on YouTube, 2.5, whatever it's been. Not quite 3, whatever it is, regularly, I actually do these, actually talk like this, or I might use expressions like that. I do. I can't stay late tonight. I have other commitments. You know, if I have something to do, I let people know. But I very seldom interact with people. But if I have something to do, I'll just tell them. You know, I can't hang out with you for however long or whatever. You know, because I got other stuff to do. I got to wake up and I got to be, you know, whatever the situation. I need to set some boundaries around my personal space, and that's when you really, you know, some of these expressions and ways of setting boundaries are for when you have a deeper relationship with people where you can be a lot more bold with your comments and direct. So just keep that in mind too. I can't lend money right now, but I'm happy to help in other ways, you know, and that I had a problem with helping people sometimes, you know, and I learned that the hard way. I stopped doing that, you know, because they put me in a hole doing that, you know. I don't have it for that right now, you know, but we have to be careful. Sometimes we need to just tell people, no, we can't, you know, especially if you don't have it. If you have to take care of your responsibilities, make sure you're doing that first. Just, you know, there's no shame for that, you know. Dealing with others. You know, I appreciate your concern, but I need to handle this on my own. You can just tell people that so they back out of your business. Sometimes having too many people in your business creates a problem. Learn to think for yourself. I'm not saying don't consider other people's input, but you need to ask yourself why do they have input in my life? Why? You need to ask that question. Sometimes we have to have boundaries with people, you know. This is work relationship. This is personal relationship. This is whatever, you know. Sometimes we have to put things in category on how we interact with people too, you know. I feel overwhelmed when whatever it is happens. Whatever it is, you know. I tell people that. I'm straight with people. People just act so caught off guard because I'm so direct. I don't understand that. I guess I'm from a place where people just talk straight. They just, you know, they just talk straight to you, you know. It's important to me that we communicate openly and honestly, and I'm like that. And I talk to people like this. I do. I prefer not to be interrupted during whatever the situation is. And I mean, you know, just be tactful about it. You know, because it be personal or professional, just, you know, just be upfront with people. But to try not to be rude. But sometimes we have to be direct if we have something to do so we can move on to that, you know. I'm just giving you some suggestions, okay? Request some respect for your limits. I can't tolerate being spoken to in that way. I mean, I talk to people like that. I need you to respect my decision on this matter, and you know, I will talk to people like that. That's how I feel. That's what I mean. You know, I'm just saying everybody should have a right to have whatever they want to say, what they need to say. I've reached my limit for today. Let's continue this conversation tomorrow. I can be like that. If I want to talk about something, I'll leave it. I'll talk about it when I'm up to it. And then I'll ask the person, do you mind if I ask you a few questions? I don't want to just bombard them. I try not to be rude like that. It's important for me to have some, you know, space right now. I need space. Just everybody should have space. Everyone should be able to have time for themselves, you know. Nobody should be, it's good to be around each other and stuff like that, but you should have to really get along. But everybody should have something that they have to do. Even if you're in the same, you know, environment, you should have separate things that you like to do separately so that, you know, you can be your own individual person. Remember, the key is to express yourself calmly, assertively, and with respect for the other person. Additionally, be open to listening to their needs and finding compromises when necessary. Communication is a two-way street, and finding a balance that respects everyone's boundaries is crucial for healthy relationships, okay?